This week I learned, hey, maybe lit RPG isn't so bad after all. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update. This is the 1st of April, so off to an exciting start to the month as I'm looking at my TBR, and I've already three books done already. So hey, this is going to be an exciting month. We're going to begin like usual, guys. Talk about what am I reading. I did finish Senseless by ℓ𝕬𝕣𝕠𝕜. This comes out on the 18th, I do believe, or the 15th. I don't know, something. It comes out here in the middle of the month, and I was lucky enough to get a bound proof from the publisher. So I want to thank Titan Books. Thank you so much for sending this over. Guys don't know by now, I've become quite the ℓ𝕬𝕣𝕠𝕜 fan, and I wanted to make sure that I checked out the new book that is coming out here, and that is Senseless. Now with this, look, obviously, it's not going to compare to Black Mouth. A lot of people are like, you love Black Mouth. Is that? No, it's not as good as a book that I feel like is in contender for my book of the year right now. With this is very much like Come With Me. If you like Come With Me, I think you're going to like this a lot. I'll be straight with you guys. Crime fiction isn't really my jam. I think there's a great place for it. Lots of people that I respect love it, and I understand why they like it. I think this book just epitomizes why I've never really latched on to crime fiction, is just because just like crimes in real life, not everything's going to get answered. Not everything's going to get solved. Some things about the case are just kind of left up to you to either figure out or, hey, we'll never know. So with this, he sets up 3 different points of view. And the thing that was interesting about it is you set up this relationship between Bill and Alan, and I liked it a ton. I really liked the relationship. Again, felt very Stephen King-ish when he started to do his stuff with his detectives and his crime novels and stuff that Stephen's gotten very interested in since he started reading Michael Connelly. And I like that relationship between those two. And then at the end, it just ends. It's so quick. Like I had 30 pages left in this, and I was like, there's no way he's going to wrap all this off. No, he's not. He's not going to wrap it up. Then there was another character, and I thought that she had a really great plot, and it just kind of ended ambiguously. And it's like, that's really what that story was building up to. That was the end of it. So that one, And then Toby, the third POV, probably my least interesting character in the story, he ends up being the most important. So it's a mixed bag, but I'm going to say it was very thrilling. I might not have been satisfied with quite how it ended. It's not a bad ending or anything. It's just, I think this is the reason as a fantasy reader, I've always had a hard time latching on to this little genre here, is because fantasy fans, painstakingly, the authors tell us everything. They tell us every minute detail. They're going to tell us how everything works, and they're going to give us an answer more times than not. With this, it's like, yes, I love that it's like barely 400 pages, and ℓ𝕬𝕣𝕠𝕜 stuff reads very fast, but it doesn't give you all the answers that you're looking for. So you leave crime fiction saying, hey, I wish it had been longer. I wish it had told me everything. I wish it had told me how the sausage was made. And this book doesn't quite do it. For me, I think that Malfi is going to be the author where I like his horror stuff, where he's got non-human monsters in his stories. He's got coming of age. He's got supernatural events. Those are things I think that Malfi's going to do really well. With his 2 crime books I've read, they're fine. They're just nothing that's going to leave a lasting impression on me because I'm not really into the crime fiction genre. So again, I think if you like Come With Me, you'll love this maybe more. I think you'll like this quite a bit. It's just if you want like some thrilling, epic conclusion that wraps everything off, I don't know that you're going to get it necessarily. So I think your mileage is going to vary on this one, just kind of depending on what you're looking for. Me, as more of a supernatural horror type of reader, this it leans into what I'm saying. I don't consider serial killers horror. That's not. I mean, obviously in real life, yes, but as far as like the escapism side of me that wants my horror to be otherworldly, to be supernatural, no, not so much. It's not really going to give you those things. But again, I'm going to be reading more ℓ𝕬𝕣𝕠𝕜. My plan is right now, I'm thinking I'm going to read like 1 ℓ𝕬𝕣𝕠𝕜 a month. I'm doing small town horror next month. That'll be the read. The only reason this one kind of skipped in line is because it is new, and I didn't want to get it out there. But it's not a bad book. I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm saying these are my struggles with the crime fiction genres. It never really wraps everything up in a satisfying way for me. And to me, just figuring out which human did it is never really grabbed me unless I'm reading like Agatha Christie or something like that. I'm not really interested too much in a whodunit. That's just not my style of fiction. So again, these are things that you really like. I think you're going to enjoy this because Malfi, he's 3 for 3 for me. Don't get me wrong. He's good. It's just I would rather see his talents for me really, really lie with a supernatural horror, and I'm hoping that's what I get back to with small town horror next month. But I know you guys are here because of what I put on the cover. Yes, I did read and finish Dungeon Crawler Carl. Yes, I did like it. Yes, I was wrong. I was wrong. When the synopsis of this was described to me, I said, that's not going to be something for me. That was like a year and a half ago. And I said, nah. And I realize now, yeah, you were being an asshole fantasy snob. I was, because, guys, this is stupid amounts of fun. Stupid amounts of fun. I had a great time reading this. There are things about it that I don't like, and it's the same things I said bother me about Cradle. It's where I don't need to know about you gaining levels. I don't need to hear that. He does it in a way in this, though, that it's amusing. And the thing is, I love to laugh when I read a book, and I'm not going to lie to you. This is the most that I have laughed out loud reading a book since I reread Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in 2022? I laughed out loud a lot. I'm going around the house, basically, God damn it, donut to my dog, and it's addicting. And I can see why people love it so much. And here's the deal is I think if you are a Gen Xer, you're going to love this because the references in here are right up your alley. Yeah, I mean, there's some that I think that the younger audiences might not get at all, but it's really, really good stuff. But it's not in like that Ready Player One kind of way in that it takes you out of the story because it's just like winking at the camera. It never really does that. It seems like... Sounds weird to say this. It seems like a conversation that a man and a cat might have, right? So it's one of those where I feel like if you don't take it too seriously, like I didn't, I think you're going to have a good time with it. Now, again, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know because I feel like I'm the last one to read this, and that's the downside of this is now that I liked it, it's either hey, what took you so long, or why are you milking this? And it's just like, look, you guys whined and whined and whined and whined for me to read this book, and now that I like it, I'm getting told that I'm milking it, and I mean. That's just the life of a content creator. Those things are going to happen, I guess. But I did like the book quite a bit. And it seems like there was this small faction of people who wanted me to hate it. They wanted me to kill the hype for it or something. I don't know. So is it something that's going to is this the book that's going to change your life? No. But, I think that the humor in it, it's lewd and it's crude. There's a lot of bad language, obviously. So I would say it's a little bit more, but I don't think it's the kind of humor that, kind of the slapsticky stuff that happens in Dresden Files. I don't think it's any worse than some of that. Yeah, it's over the top because, the book is over the top and it doesn't deny that. But what surprised me is it actually has some really, really good heartfelt moments in it. And that didn't think in a book like this, where it's a guy cussing at his cat, that it was going to be a book where I thought you could have those emotional highs. But it does. It did a really good job with it. So excited to see where it goes going forward. I'll definitely pick up book 2. I don't know when, but sooner rather than later. That'll be happening this year. I am excited. I did like this. I think this could be a really good, if you're reading, super, super heavy books, super heavy fantasy books, I think this is a really good palate cleanser kind of idea. And in the end, guys, I want to laugh. I want to have a good time with some of these things. I think that can kind of break the monotony of reading everything, because everything I'm reading right now is just so super serious. So super serious. And that's what I didn't like about Cradle, is it was so super serious about things that shouldn't be taken this damn seriously in a real life setting. This embraces that. And I think it's like, if you're like me and you're like, I don't want to hear about your constitution and your compounding damage. I don't want to hear that stuff. I'm not a D&D player. No offense. I'm glad that people love D&D. I never really played it. I didn't really experience it. Those are things that I don't want to read about. When I'm playing like Final Fantasy, sure, I want to hear about those things. But with this, you don't really have to. It adds to the story if you want those things to. It's kind of like I'll make this comparison, kind of like the allomancy in Mistborn. If you want to, you can follow what combining these two metal elements together does, and you probably get more out of the story than the average reader can. Or you can just be one of those who's just like, yeah, they're doing magic, and be fine with it. That's kind of how it is here. If you want to read those things, you can. I treat like the footnotes, like you do, like I did in Nevernight by J. Kristoff. You don't read the footnotes, it doesn't take anything away from the story. It adds to the story if you want it to. But they never really took me out of the story. The descriptions of the achievements in the loot boxes, very funny, amusing, and I like all the things that he's doing here. And I'm interested to see how this continues, because it's a series that people tell me there's some hiccups along the way, but that it gets better and better. And if that's the case, hey, this is going to be an exciting ride. So Thank you guys for consistently hounding me to read this. Sorry I upset those who wanted me to hate it. I did like it a lot. I laughed a lot, guys, and laughter is good for the soul, and I need that because I don't have another series that's really making me laugh this much while I'm reading it, and I hope it does continue down that path. Was a Carl's Doomsday Scenario? Is that what book 2 is called? Interesting naming mechanisms for this series. But be anxious to see if it does continue this same route because, I laughed a lot. And I'm going to be quoting a lot of things from this, I think, especially, goddamn it, Donut, because every time he says it, I just can't help. I'm forever 12, guys. There's one part where it says, you got manna toast. It's manna on toast. That's it. Fuck you. He's like, well, that's unnecessary. I don't know. These things make me laugh. I don't know. Maybe I'm just always 12 in that regard. How about what am I going to read you guys? Well, I'll be starting Speaker for the Dead next. Haven't picked it up yet. I'm going to take a quick little break because I am so ahead of myself. I've already read 3 books, Senseless, Dungeon Crawler Carl, and Moon Called by Mercy Thompson there, or with Mercy Thompson by Patricia Briggs. I've already read all 3 of those now. I've got 3 books left, but they are a little thicker, a little heavier reads. I read my quick reads early this month. But Speaker for the Dead, obviously, I'm a little nervous, not gonna lie, because I love Ender's Game, and I think it's my second favorite science fiction book ever. And I've always kind of stayed away from the sequels because I'm afraid of it tainting that legacy. But it sounds like if you treat it like I tell people to treat the Dune sequels and just realize they're not like book 1. They're good, and they're going to be a mixed reaction. There's going to be some that love them, some that you hate, some that don't work for you, and some that are really, really great. But don't go into it expecting book 1. I didn't think that Card could get away with doing Battle School again after the way that Ender's Game ended, for lack of a better word there. But I don't know. I'm hearing the word philosophical, and that can go either way for me. Sometimes I love it, God Emperor of Doom. Sometimes I don't. Insert your book here. And so we'll see. We'll see. I'm nervous, but I'm also excited to see Enderwigan again. And hopefully his siblings, hopefully it builds off that because, that's something that I think about when I recall what happened in Ender's Game over the last few days. I'm like, his siblings were real interesting. I think Valentine and, God, I can't remember the brother's name. Peter? Was it Peter? That guy was something else, and I'm hoping that we get more on that because I felt like that was something that was kind of left open-ended. They were gaining a lot of fame, and see if that kind of goes along in the series here as we continue. But excited, clearly. When you're talking about the sequel to your second favorite sci-fi book of all time, there's excitement, but there's also hesitancy. But we will find out. I'll probably take all week to read this. I don't know how quick this is going to read. It's pretty small print, and they're not a long book, 378 pages. Very, very small print, though. But also the content obviously isn't going to be a guy cussing at his cat, as I put it. But if I do somehow finish that, it's on to Into the Multiverse. I'll be getting back to it with From a Buick 8 by Cy King. A book I don't recall anything about, but it is a reread. So to get back to the Into the Multiverse, I have to finish some of these rereads, and that's going to be From a Buick 8 and the last 2 Dark Tower novels. And then I can give you guys that Stephen King tier list number 4 you've been hounding me for a long, long time. How about this week on the channel, guys? Did have a guest. I had Mr. Jay Kristoff on the channel as we did the cover reveal for Empire of the Dawn, and then for the other 28 minutes, just kind of talked about the series, what it's like being an author in the internet age, and how he stuck to his guns on saying this book was going to, the series was going to be a trilogy. He was going to stay to that. He didn't do that thing that seems like it's happening a lot now. Yeah, it's going to be a trilogy, and then book 3 takes forever, and they're like, well, it's so big, we're going to split it. You know what? We're just going to go ahead and make it 5 books. And I'm sure that had to be very tempting for him because this series is very, very popular for him. But obviously, getting to talk to Jay is just a gift. He's such a fun guy to talk to. I seriously think we could talk for hours and hours and hours and not run anything to talk about. I think he's going to be coming through here again for a book tour this year, and I'll make sure that I quarantine this time, and I actually am able to meet up with him and have a chat because Jay is just an awesome guy, and I hope y'all will listen to that discussion. Even if you haven't read the Empire of the Vampire series, it's a fun talk. And there's even some things I had to censor out of it because reasons. Wrapped up March, talked about my book of the month. I don't think my book of the month was a shock to anybody. If you watched these weekly updates, you knew what my book of the month was going to be. But always fun to kind of take a look at the most popular content for the month and everything that I read. Because, I did have a DNF. That didn't make it a bad reading month for me. It wasn't as good as February, but again, February is one of the best reading months I've ever had on this channel. So that's kind of a high bar, but still read some really good things in March, and I did get to talk about them. As for some next week plans, guys, got a couple of ideas. Obviously, I'll do my book haul. I want to do my book haul because I want to say thank you. Got some really, really pretty stuff that I want to show you guys, as always. But for me, it's getting the opportunity to thank those who are so kind and send me something. So I'll do the book haul. As long as you guys keep sending me stuff, I'll do a book haul every month. And I can't say thank you enough to you. And you are just the best. But a video I always do every year, either in March or April, is I talk about the next year. And I know that always seems a little earlier than everybody, it's the month 4 of the year. Why are we talking about 2026? It's barely the beginning of 2025. I always like to take a look forward and say, these are a bunch of series that are on my radar. These are a bunch that I will have in my consideration for my permanent ink at the end of the year. And that's where I talk about the series that I will be starting the next year. No matter what, I'll be starting at least book 1. So that list starts a little big. And the reason I do that is because it gets some feedback from you guys. Let me know if you think that's going to be something for me. It gets people to say, how about this one? I think you might like this series better. And it gets those things on my radar. Like when I started Drizzt, it wasn't on this video, but it was on that one at the end of the year because of you guys' feedback for it. So I appreciate all the feedback you guys give me in these comments because it really helps me decipher what am I going to read, what do I think is going to be for me, what maybe would you guys like me to hear me talk about. Like, again, if you guys didn't do that, I probably never would have read this. So I do listen to you guys. And I'm always available to try new things, Crime fiction isn't exactly for me. Lit RPG isn't exactly for me, but I'm going to keep trying them if that's what you guys want to hear me talk about. So make sure you hit up that video sometime this week and let me know some of your recommendations and feedback on those series that I'm considering reading. How about some TV and movie talk real quick before I go? Now, look, my wife and I, this is really, really sad here, gosh, I remember how long ago it was now. When Patrick Swayze passed away, it was so weird. It was like the day before we rewatched Ghost, and the next day Patrick Swayze passed away. My wife and I watched Heat because she had never seen it, and I was like, "This is an all-time great movie. You need to watch Heat." And the next day, Val Kilmer passes away, and this one hurt, man. Like I don't usually get all tore up about celebrity death. It sucks, obviously, but I don't know these people. I mean, there's people who've had a big imprint on your life, sometimes, and I think any Gen Xer has got great love for Val Kilmer. I mean, I think about. Right afterwards, I did like my top 10 movies by him, and it was a tough list to make. Just an era-defining actor, I think, is that Val Kilmer was always underrated, always underappreciated, but he always overperformed in every movie that he was in. I never think that there was a role like, Val Kilmer really drug that movie down. No, he was great for a long, long time. And it's just one of those things like after he's passed away, I've seen an outpouring of support and love that he did touch a lot of people's lives. So, I mean, I stumbled onto Top Secret as a 5-year-old and laughed so hard that, Val Kilmer became the Real Genius came out right after that, and just kind of followed his whole career, and up to and including Willow and Tombstone and Heat, obviously Top Gun. I mean, this was a guy that he was great at what he did, and I just gotta say now, really looking back on it, I'm so glad that Tom Cruise really, really fought for that scene in Top Gun Maverick with him. It really has a different meaning, I think, now, and it sucks. 65 years old. It's gone too soon, really is. But yeah, I think that it's great that we've got these amazing performances captured forever that we'll be able to go back and visit. And that's the way that I kind of look at some of these celebrity passings. They're sad, obviously, but they left us with some great memories to go back and rewatch. I can't tell you guys how many times I've watched Tombstone. I mean, there's a movie that I could put on mute and quote everything. That'd be it. And Doc Holliday is like one of the best performances I've ever seen in a movie. It's not exactly like what I would call true analytical market data, because it's a small field. It's just me taking a poll on Twitter. But the casting news for both Chronicles of Narnia reboot and the Harry Potter reboot. So you got HBO redoing the Harry Potter series, and you got Netflix doing the Chronicles of Narnia series. And I just basically took a poll. I was like, hey, which one do you think turns out worse? And it had like 1,200 votes on this poll, and it ended in a 50-50 tie. So there's one thing that the internet seems divided on is that these two series, they don't have very much confidence in them. I don't think so. And it's a shame. You look, with me with casting, as I always say, Heath Ledger rule. Let's wait until we see it on screen before we criticize it. But some of them, especially the Narnia ones, I'm just like, that sounds like you're fundamentally changing the story. And I don't know. I try not to just sit here and just like rage and hate on these things. I just say that I'm not going to watch your stuff if I feel like it's going to be a bad, but this one kind of falls under why remake this, especially Harry Potter. Look, you're dealing with the generation after mine and maybe one more that those Harry Potter movies are like, they're Star Wars. That's their MCU. You know, those, it's not that long ago. We're not that far removed, really. Not even 20 years since the last Harry Potter movie. And it feels like you're just going to do that thing where you just try to say, hey, we're going to fix everything we don't like about it in hindsight. And it's, look, Rowling is just a hot plate for controversy. I understand that. But as far as like the story goes, Rowling's been trying to George Lucas this thing for years, talking about things she wished she'd done different, try to put some retroactive canon in there and stuff. And I feel like if she's involved with this, yeah, you're going to see a lot of those changes, things that she wished that she had written, you know, because obviously we change as human beings. Our opinions change. And like you might look at something that you thought when you were 20 and you look back at it in your 40s, you're like, oh yeah, I was a dumb kid. I think Rowling kind of looks at some things like that. And it's one of those things that it can get you in trouble sometimes, especially when it's something that's beloved as Harry Potter. Maybe you should just leave it alone. Quit remaking stuff that was good. That's what I said about Starship Troopers. Quit remaking stuff that was good. As far as Narnia, you know, they never finished adapting it. Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe was really good. Prince Caspian, it was fine. It was fine. Voyage of Dawn Treader, it had the key moments. They had Reap and Cheap, right? I'll give it that. But it was a swing and a miss. So I understood why they felt like they needed to restart it. If you're going to do this, you're going to make the Narnia series, you got to make them quick because the kids will age out really, really quick. But just listen to some of the things that they're saying about the Narnia. The Narnia reboot. That's not Narnia, guys. You guys aren't adapting Narnia. You don't do your own thing with these series and expect them to be the same thing. You're just using name recognition. And that's why these adaptations keep failing. I talked about this last year. I'm like, why do fantasy adaptations keep failing? Because you're making it your own. And it's just like, go make your own thing if that's really what you want to do. Quit doing these remakes just to shit on them and then saying the fandoms are toxic because you're not adapting them the way that they were on the page. Adaptation doesn't have to be page for page, but it needs to feel like the same story. And that's why fans get upset. So it's a wait and see, obviously, but right now I'm not very optimistic. And I talked too long about this, so I don't really have any time to talk to you guys about what I feel about the Sam Mendes making 4 Beatles movies. Like, I'm a Beatle maniac. I'll be there. I'm interested, but making 4 Beatles movies, one for each member from their point of view. It's ambitious, but I'll wait and see. Like, it's another one of those with the castings. I'm like, I'll have to wait until I see him in hair and makeup before I really give a final go on this. But I don't know if Sam Mendes is a Beatle maniac or not. I hope he is. I'm hoping someone that's in charge of this is going to do a really, really good telling of this, warts and all. But I'm hoping for the best. But right now I'm like, I want to see more. I want to see more before I really say anything. So I'll probably go into this more once we get more details. Maybe we get to see the actors as John, Paul, George, and Ringo. But it's about time, is what I'll say. It's just like with all these biopics just being like the rage the last decade, I'm shocked it's taken this long to get one about the Beatles. And hopefully it turns out better than Elvis did, because I thought that Elvis had the perfect guy to play Elvis, and you blew it. I felt like in the end, it's just like it was a fine movie, but it could have been amazing. But with this, they've got the rights to the Beatles music. So hopefully they don't do like Elvis movie where they have a bunch of people that aren't Elvis doing Elvis songs. Maybe with this they'll actually have the Beatles versions of Beatles songs. That'd be really good. So we'll see. More on that when we get more about it. And I just told you I wasn't going to talk about it, and then I spent 2 minutes talking about it. So guys, that was my week. I'd love to know what your week is looking like. What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you playing? Drop in the comments, guys, and let me know, and I will talk to you there.